You know, to be honest, I'm relieved it's over with the Times. You turn into a real prick working for them.
Prick is a slang name for a penis. So if someone is a real prick, it means they're acting like a penis. And the idea is that they're kind of mean, kind of aggressive, self-righteous, and very annoying. People don't like to work for them.
And it's an insult, right? So you will...
It's also an insult to call someone a prick, right? So typically people will not call someone a prick directly to their face, but they will do so indirectly. And oftentimes they are referring to the boss, but they can also be referring to a coworker who acts in a very aggressive manner. My boss has been a real prick lately because our sales were down last month. And my boss has been a real prick lately. He calls these meetings every morning and he insults the different people in the office because sales have been down lately, and if we can't get the sales back, then unfortunately some people are going to have to get let go. My neighbor is a real prick. He plays loud music late every night, and he smokes marijuana in the backyard, so my kids have to smell it, which is just horrible. I hate the guy.
I'd had a couple, then I made some guy believe I painted your big eyes.
What?
It was a misunderstanding. And then I didn't want to jinx the sale.
JINX refers to bad luck that causes some possible good event to come to ruin or to just cause bad things to happen. So if I'm expecting something good to happen, I want to be very careful not to act like it's really going to happen because that might jinx it. And this comes from the old idea of gods looking out for mankind and trying to help them or trying to hurt them. So if somebody acts too arrogantly, then one of the gods is going to come along and cause something bad to happen to them. And so they want to be careful not to get jinxed.
And it's based on superstition, correct?
It's based on superstition, yes. In the theatrical world, they say break a leg, and what that's supposed to do is to counteract the effects of feeling over positive about something. Because if someone gets too over positive, that's a good way to make a mistake. In the theater, before a performance, the actors will say, break a leg, which is something negative, but it's a way of counteracting the feeling of being overconfident. It's a way of counteracting the feeling of being overconfident and possibly doing something to jinx the performance. You can also have a person who is a jinx, who is a person who either causes bad luck just because they do, or it's a person who causes bad luck because they say things that are intended to act as if the other person is going to reach their goal.
Like women were considered a jinx on ships a long time ago, correct?
That's correct, and the reason for that was just because they were women. And the reason for that was just because they were women. There was no other justification for that. But a person as an intentional jinx, example might be if someone is up for a promotion, someone else in the office may want to jinx the promotion by telling the person or asking the person what they're going to do with all the extra money that they make once they get promoted. And most people naturally find this annoying, and they'll say something like, "Don't jinx me." Similarly, in athletic contests, it's very common where they want to be very careful not to act as if they have already won the game because they don't want to get jinxed. When Joe Namath said that the Jets were going to win the Super Bowl in 1969, a lot of people thought that he was a jinx. But he ended up winning the Super Bowl, so it became the opposite of what they thought it was going to be. We don't want to bring any umbrellas to the picnic because we don't want to jinx ourselves and make it rain.
This is something that a lot of people should know about, and not because they're Latino, but because they're underdogs, because these are kids that nobody expected anything remotely like this from.
Underdog refers to a competitor in a contest who is considered to be weaker than the other competitor. The idea comes from packs of dogs where there is usually a strong leader who is an alpha dog, and there are other dogs that are weaker, which are called beta dogs, or all the way down to the point where you even have an omega dog, who is the weakest dog in the entire pack. So if there's a fight or a contest between the different dogs, the assumption is that the stronger dog is going to win the fight. But that's not always the case. Sometimes the underdog wins. And this idea gets carried further into other types of contests, typically political contests, and oftentimes politicians want to cast themselves as the underdog. And the idea here is that a lot of people like to favor the underdog. They like the weaker dog to win, or the weaker person to win. So this will tend to get votes for the politician. So Bill Clinton did this, and he won. And also Barack Obama did the same thing, and he won too. So it's a very useful strategy. In the recent football game between Indianapolis and the New England Patriots, Indianapolis was the underdog, and they got crushed decisively by the New England Patriots, as expected. In the gorilla world, there's always a top gorilla who can hold his position for a while, but there's always an underdog, and at some point the underdog defeats the top gorilla, and then they become the top gorilla, otherwise known as the top banana.
Okay. Well, what is it? The Top Gun was
The Top Gun, right? You can also use the corporate world. In the corporate world, there's always a top banana. But meanwhile, the other executives are looking for the chief to make a mistake so they can take over his position as the underdog.
That's all for today. Tom Taylor is an ESL tutor. He teaches English in the United States and outside, all over the world, using Skype. He can be reached at his website, which is
ESL-fullsteamahead.com.
click on this link and check out his website and email with questions. Thank you, Tom, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thank you.